Saint of the day, Saint Clare. Saint Clare of Assisi was born in Assisi on July 16, 1194. As Chiara of Rizzo, the beautiful eldest daughter of Favorina Siffi, Count of Sassorofo, and his wife Ortolana. Tradition says her father was a wealthy representative of an Asian Roman family, and her mother was a very devout woman belonging to the noble family of Fiume. As a young girl, Clare dedicated herself to prayer. At 18 years old, she heard Saint Francis of Assisi preach during a Lenten service in the Church of Saint Georgia and asked him to help her live according to the Gospel. On Palm Sunday in 1212, Clare left her father's home and went to the chapel of Porciuncula to meet with Francis. While there, Clare's hair was cut off and she was given a plain robe and veil in exchange for her rich gown. Clare joined the convent of the Benedictine nuns of St. Paolo near Bastia under Francis' order. When her father found her and attempted to force her back into his home, she refused and professed that she would have no other husband than Jesus Christ. In order to give her the greater solitude she desired, Francis sent Clare to Saint Angelo in Panso, another Benedictine nuns' monastery. Clare's sister Caterina, who took the name Agnes, joined her at this monastery to remain there until a separate dwelling was built for them next to the church of Saint Damiano. Over time, some other women joined them, wanting to also be brides of Jesus and live with no money. They became known as the poor ladies of Saint Damiano. They all lived a simple life of austerity, seclusion from the world, and poverty, according to the rules which Francis gave them as second order. Saint Clare and her sister wore no shoes, ate no meat, lived in a poor house, and kept silent most of the time. Their lives consisted of manual labor and prayer, yet they were very happy because our Lord was close to them all the time. San Damiano became the center of Clare's new order, which was then known as Order of the Poor Ladies of San Damiano. For a brief period of time, the order was directed by Saint Francis himself, and by 1216 Clare became the abbess of Saint Damiano. 10 years after Clare's death, the order became known as Order of Saint Clare. While serving as a leader of our order, Clare defended them from the attempts of prelates to impose a rule on them that more closely followed the rule of Saint Benedict than Francis. Clare was so devoted and dedicated to Francis that she was often referred as the Alter Franciscus or another Francis. She encouraged and aided the man she saw as a spiritual father figure and took care of him as he grew old. Following Francis, then Clare continued to promote her order, fighting off every attempt from each pope trying to impose a rule on her order that would water down their radical commitment to corporate poverty. In 1224, an army of rough soldiers from Frederick XI came to attack Assisi. Although very sick, Clare went out to meet them with the Blessed Sacrament on her hands. She had the Blessed Sacrament placed at the wall where the enemies could see it. Then on her knees she begged God to save the sister. "O Lord, protect this sister whom I cannot protect now," she prayed. A voice seemed to answer, "I will keep them always in my care." In that moment, a sudden fright struck the attackers and they fled as fast as they could without harming anyone in Assisi. Saint Clare became sick and suffered great pain for many years, but she expressed that no pain could trouble her. So great was her joy in serving the Lord that she once exclaimed, "They say that we are too poor, but can a heart which possesses the infinite God be truly called poor?" On August 9, 1253, Pope Innocent IV declared Clare's rule would serve as the governing rule for Clare's order of poor ladies. 2 days later, Clare died at 59 years old. Her remains were placed in chapel of Saint Georgia, while the church dedicated to her remains was being built. At Pope Innocent's request, the canonization process for Clare began immediately, and 2 years later, in 1255, Pope Alexander canonized Clare as Saint Clare of Assisi. The construction of the Basilica of Saint Clare was finished in 1260, and on October 3, 1260, Clare's remains were transferred there and buried the high altar. She is also the patroness of eye disease, goldsmith, and laundry. Clare is often pictured carrying a monstrance or pyx to commemorate the time she warded off the soldiers at gates of her convent with the Blessed Sacrament. St. Clare's feast day is celebrated on August 11th.